Hey everybody, Gavin Seim here, and today we're going to look at how to use PowerFlow 7. This is our ultimate workflow pack, and I'm really excited because this has been, well, we made the original PowerFlow back in Lightroom 1. That's been like 15 years now, which is kind of amazing to think about. But you know what? I think what's beautiful about this preset collection is it works on anything. You can a portrait, a street, whatever it is you're editing, PowerFlow has something there. And it doesn't make our other editing packs irrelevant, like Silver, like Filmus, like Belladonna, like our actions, because all of these have a focus and a theme. But what PowerFlow's theme is just getting the job done. And in PowerFlow 7, with the refined flow packs, the organization, and you have your black and whites, you have your colors, you have the Broadway cinematics, the magic fixers, everything is right there all the time. And what makes this such a useful collection is if you're coming in and you just want to get the edit done and you don't want to be hopping around between all these different editing packs and sensory overload of presets, because this happens a lot. A lot of companies that have kind of jumped on the bandwagon of just making presets, and a lot of them are just using stock photos. They're not necessarily even photographers. They're just making these huge packs of presets. And it doesn't really serve us as professionals. It doesn't serve you as a professional, because the goal of presets is that you don't have to tinker with a zillion different options in the sliders, and you can get all these creative tools. But if you then take thousands of presets and put them over here in your presets, you're back to having to tinker with so many options. And the beauty of PowerFlow is you can just come in, you can batch edit, you can individual edit, you can do some mods. But let's not talk about it. I'm just going to show you. Let's switch to the split screen, and I've tried to make the cursor kind of big and ugly so it shows up here a little bit, and it's a little easier for you guys to follow. But the bottom line is I just have some photos and I want to look at how easy this is. First of all, if we go to develop mode, you'll see over here in the presets panel I have PowerFlow 7. Now if you don't know how to install, presets, just head over to seimeffects.com/help, because I have a video on basically how to install presets in everything, in Photoshop, Camera Raw, in old versions of Lightroom, and new versions of Lightroom, and Capture One. And rather than go into that here, I'll just say head over to seimeffects.com/help if you're not installed yet, and we'll get you there. Okay? So assuming that you are installed, and you can just come in here and you can see that PowerFlow is simple. This isn't a sensory overload collection. It's a collection of very refined presets that we've honed over the years to just work. And the first thing you can do is you can just mouse over, and you'll see how many of these looks are different but actually look amazing. And there's been an epic amount of refinement that's gone into PowerFlow to get it to this point where you have all these different looks, but they're optimized for different cameras and file types, and they just work. I'm going to go, and we have the super batch. You can use this on individual files, but it's great for batches because it is rather subtle. But what you're going to find in version 7 is a lot of these presets, like the new Broadways. Let's do Broadway dynamic on this. It looks amazing. And then we'll go down and let's do the fast mods. There's 2 mods. So you have batch, Broadway, fast mods, color dancer, which is just a nice variety of color things, the new mini black, so you can get quick black and whites. And then you come down to Pixel Forward, which is additional mods. When you click a mod, it stacks it on top of the preset, in effect. So it only changes the mod that's in that preset. What that means is if I apply Broadway Dynamic, and now I go down and I apply a backlight curve, it's changing the curve, but it's leaving every other effect from the preset, from the one click that I applied alone. So all of our one clicks are meant to be consistent, just like they are in our other packs. So all of these, unless they say otherwise, leave exposure alone. You can see that they're assuming that your exposure is where it is, because you can do the super auto, which will adjust your exposure because it's using Lightroom's auto settings. But auto exposure is kind of hit and miss. So as I've showed you in my workflow editing videos, a lot of times what I will do is I'll actually go in, I'll do a grid edit, and I'll sort out my favorites, and then I'll quickly use the quick tools to get the exposure dialed in where I want. Then I'll go to this color grade. Now you can of course use something like the super auto and you can get automatic exposure as well. That's why we have the super tools right here at the top. Then we have the new Broadway, which is just really versatile looks, different from all our other cinematic packs like Belladonna, but that bring that kind of rich, deep color, something more than just a general enhancement. The magic tools, really amazing for situations. Maybe you're dealing with harsh sun. Maybe you have a wedding ceremony outside. Maybe you just want a classic HDR look that works on everything. Magic tools, like the name implies, are meant to magically kind of work on everything, which we know in the real world, you're going to find photos that one preset works on better than the other. But we test a lot to get this level of quality and consistency. And PowerFlow, I think that really shines in. Okay, let's go back though. Let's actually start taking a few more. I want to reset a couple of these just to kind of show you guys. Let's go to here and let's just reset these. And so you're going to see as I reset these top images here, I'm going to set them back to 0 so you can kind of see the workflow process of doing that. We're also going to look at a couple of wedding images really quickly, but let's just reset those and let them do their thing. Okay, so now let's go in here and just start taking a few of these individually. And I actually reset the crops and everything. If you don't want to do that, let me undo that and show you something. If you want to reset, but you don't want to reset your crops, use the reset tools that we include in all of our preset packs. And I'm going to show you right now how to do those. Hang on, undo reset. Okay, so I've undid my reset. I'm just going to go here, and this is the same as we would do if we were batch editing. We can go in here to Save Preset, PowerFlow, and we can apply any preset to whatever images are selected here. So in this case, I'm just going to go in and do the Reset All, which is going to reset all my developed settings, but the reset presets always leave your crop alone. So if you kind of want to go back, you can do it from here in a batch, or you can just click any of those header presets that say Reset, and you reset your image. These are the little things that over the years we've just kind of refined more and more. Now you can see if I was in a grid edit, I might say, well, let's just quickly edit exposure on this. It's a little dark. These ones are a little dark. And I'm just going to do some quick, this is what I call a grid edit, where you can select groupings of images. And pretty much all I do in those is exposure. I don't try and do fancy edits because I can do those quicker in the presets. So let's take something like this, go to here, and let's go down to the new mini black. Our black and white presets are really popular, and our silver collection is really great. But I really said we need something that just works really good, that's integrated into PowerFlow, so you always have something that's ready to go. Let's do like emulsion silver, really rich contrast, brings out those whites and that black in this early morning scene that kind of has some haze, and frankly, it looks amazing just like that. Now I can go here, you can see in the fast mods. So we have all of our flow packs where each mini pack of presets is what makes up Power Workflow and is designed to make it work. So we've applied our black and white, but let's go to the fast mods that are right up here at the top and just put a classic vignette. We could also do a radi spot or a radi vignette to get a little more intense. There's just some basic tools we can do here, like auto white balance, exposure up, exposure down. And then if you want more, you can go down to Pixel Forge, and in Pixel Forge you can increase the contrast, the backlight curve, you can apply tinting to the images. So a lot of things, and again, you can just stack these right on top. Okay, let's go back and go to another image, and we'll just take another portrait here, and let's just go in and do something like a Broadway look. Let's do the Broadway dynamic, bring in the dynamic range. Let's just go down to the mods and tweak with it just a little bit. No, let's just do high saturation mod in the fast mods. So you can see I just did 2 clicks. All of the presets except the mods are 1-click presets, and they're basically going to tweak everything except your exposure and your white balance. They're going to leave that alone, and you can do whatever you want with those. The mod presets are only going to affect what they list. Okay, let's go in here and look at the color dancer, and let's just try something like Mountain Cabin here. Color Swagger looks cool. Epic Earth, really versatile stuff here. I'm gonna do the Brilliant Waters, and that looks good. I don't know, I could go anywhere with this. And again, we could go back up here to the fast mods. We could apply a vignette if we wanted to. Let's go back though. I mean, these are working really good and really easy. And we can take all of these and say, well, great. You know, this one's a little bit dark. There's not a lot going on. Let's go down to Color Dancer and let's do Color Swagger. This is a pretty intense saturation effect. And then I'm gonna go down to the mods and I'm just gonna change the curve. See this? The backlight curve just brings out that backlight. And we just went from here, excuse me, to here, just like that, and really brought out that balance. Let's go into a wedding though. And I'm not gonna edit the whole wedding because I've edited whole sessions in my other videos. But if you're coming from a portrait or a wedding or something like that, the workflow tools are really amazing. So you can come in here and you can say, well, let's take my favorite images. I've done 3, 4, 5 stars, however it is that you rate them, right? And I'm gonna go in and we're gonna select a group. I'm not gonna do the entire batch because for the purposes of the video, it'll take too long to process. So I'm just gonna take a little grouping of images as if I was editing a wedding here, and I'm gonna go and do something like super everything. The super tools are really great batch tools that just work whenever you need them to work, and you can pretty much rely on them to make everything just look a little better, to bring out the contrast, the dynamic range just a little bit, but not to be over the top. And that's where the power comes in from these. However, I want to show you something that is really good for the batch edit. Traditionally, we've had these super tools that do a light enhancement on everything for batch edits. And with the level of refinement in PowerFlow 7, you can kind of use anything for a batch edit. So let's say I wanted to go in here and I wanted something that looked a little bit different than just a basic edit like the super everything. I'm going to go to PowerFlow. And I'm gonna go down here to Magic Outside Party, which is kind of a preset geared for when you're doing things outside. We also have the Harsh Sunny for situations like wedding receptions or whatever, where you can't really control the light and it's intense. But Outside Party's a little more subtle and it looks really good. It's gonna be a little more than the Super Series and maybe a little less than the Harsh Sunny. But what it's going to do is give these just rich, beautiful color profiles. Now you can see everything in this scene is not outside, but that's not going to hurt us because this preset is just really versatile. So if we're editing a wedding, it doesn't mean that we would apply one preset and not edit anything. It's that you can take whatever look or theme or favorite or a general purpose tool like a Super Series preset, and you can just bring it in and apply it to 500, 1,000 images from your session, and then you can come in and say, well, I don't like how Outside Party looks on this. Let's do something like Super Portrait. Let's bring an exposure up preset, and boom, we've just enhanced that. So usually what I do when I'm editing something like a wedding, I'm going to filter down my ratings, get rid of my culls, and separate those out with ratings, and I will then come in and do a batch edit and make everything look good. And then I'll go into the favorites of the favorites and do some more creative edits, the portraits. I'll do some copying and pasting of effects. The power of a good workflow is efficiency. It's having a step-by-step. And if you go and watch my video on editing a complete session, I'll link that down in the YouTube channel, and you can kind of watch more about how I actually edit stuff from start to finish. But the bottom line is that when you're in here and you're using PowerFlow, you don't have to switch around to other preset collections. When you get to those finishing touches, if you want to do more, yeah, you can switch around. But everything in Power Workflow is designed just to work. It's designed to be right here all the time, looking good. I like the zone silver on this one. It looks pretty amazing. And to just be kind of at your fingertips. Here's an image that's just really flat. Let's do the color swagger. Let's go down to the mods and do a contrast boost like this one, or maybe even a deeper dark curve. And then let's go up to the fast mods and just add some saturation. And we could tweak around. We could add tints. We could do all kinds of things with this. The point is, and what I'm trying to illustrate, is that you don't have to use PowerFlow and think, what does every single preset do and what images it's for? Because in PowerFlow, pretty much every preset is for everything. So I can take something like this, and it's all about visualizing what you want. This was taken on a vintage lens. It's a little flat, right? So I can do something like Broadway Dynamic, but I might want to bring a little more contrast in. So I'm in the Broadway Flow Pack. I'm going to go down to the Mods Flow Pack and just do something like Deeper Dark, Contrast Boost, something like that. Let's go here, just like this, to bring in that rich contrast. And maybe I actually want to dial back a little manually, right? Maybe I want to pull back a little contrast on this manually on the sliders. It's okay to use presets and use sliders. One of the beauty of using presets is they save you time doing the heavy lifting and the main edits so that you have more time for the little tweaks that make things amazing. You can see that you can just mouse over and browse whatever look you want. You can apply it from any of the flow packs in PowerFlow, and then you can do a mod if you want, and you're ready to go. If you like what you've done, maybe you've combined a couple of mods and everything looks amazing, and maybe you're doing a wedding reception or something. You want to paste that onto everything, just do that Shift-Control-C, bring up the copy and paste. Usually when I copy and paste, I do kind of like when I'm making a preset. I leave exposure alone, but I copy all my color settings, my color grading, my grain, things like that, depending on what I'm editing. And then I can just go Shift-Control-V and I can paste those same settings to another image and get the same look. But you're gonna see a lot of images here like in the Broadway, in the Magic. Here's an image that was shot without the benefit of having a strobe. And it's a great image, but there's a lot of harshness, there's a lot of highlights. So let's actually go in and do something a little creative like the Broadway Blue Orange. We've done a lot of work with how we do shadow and highlight roll-offs and curves. And in all our recent packs, we've been doing more and more with this. And so when you have a scene like this, it's not actually harsh sun. And so maybe the harsh sunny is a bit much, but it needs something. It doesn't have great light punching into the face. It needs to be worked with a little bit. We could use something like the Buttery Cross just to bring a bit of a cross process that looks different, that looks really good. Cream Portrait looks really good on here. The Blue Orange looks really good on here. So you can see whether it's in the Broadway flow pack or the Magic flow pack, or whether we're just doing more subtle things in the Super Series, whether we go down to black and white, whether we mix up the colors with color dancers, and whether we mod it, it doesn't matter that much because we really can just browse through, not overthink, what do I have to use? Here's our base, here's one preset. And so what look are you looking for? Whether you're editing weddings, whether you're editing portraits, whether you're editing your street photography, the thing that PowerFlow does better than anything else, and it's been refined probably for more years than almost any other preset collection in the market, is that it's designed to work on anything right now without a hassle and be the go-to pack. And then if you want to go and you say, no, this is my favorite image of the whole shoot, I want to play around, then go to Belladonna, go to Filmist, go to Silver, go to Muse, things like that, right? Or if you have, a few images to edit. If I just have a few images to edit, I'll just bounce around between all of these different preset packs and find what looks amazing. But if I'm in work mode, if I'm in get it done, I need to get a lot of images done efficiently so I don't start feeling overwhelmed, I'll start with a great workflow process like PowerFlow. Because if I do that, I don't burn out my creativity, and I save my creativity for the very best of the images that I want to go to print, that I want to go to the wall, that I want to feature on my websites, that I want to spend more time on. So I'm saving all that time on the back end by just having a good process, and that process is PowerFlow 7. I hope that I answered your questions. This works pretty much the same whether you're using Camera Raw, whether you're using Lightroom, whether you're using presets and Capture. When we try to make everything as fluid as possible. If you guys have questions, shoot me an email over on the site at Seim.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit like and subscribe if you did, and let's keep it going. Go out and try PowerFlow 7. You're gonna like it, it's gonna work, it's gonna make your images and your editing better, more efficient, and more creative. Guaranteed, really, it's guaranteed. We'll give you your money back if you don't like them. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.